everyone, Shalom, Yuval here once again from Tel Aviv on another video covering one of the technologies that are COVID-related technologies. After having too many Zoom calls this week trying to explain the merits and the challenges of contact tracing, I've decided to put a second video about this topic, which I'm going to call organic contact tracing. At the end of the video, hopefully you'll understand why. So bear with me, we're going to go through a couple of questions and answer them one by one so you get a better picture of why organic contact tracing is the way to go. The reason contact tracing apps are not being effective right now, there's several countries have adopted contact tracing on a national level. I can tell you, after talking about this for the last 3-4 months, none of them have been successful. The reason they're not successful is two reasons. One, for contact tracing to work, you need the majority of the public to have that app on their phones. Contact tracing works when everybody around you also has an app, and each one is protecting each other in a community fashion. But the truth is, we're a funny bunch of people as humans. We're okay sharing our information with Facebook and with Twitter and on Google Maps and sharing our location. But when it comes to a government tracking app, none of us want to download such an app onto our phone. And I bet you, look at all the apps that you have on your phone right now. How many of them belong to the government? Very little, okay? And so, because most of us are not adopting a government tracking app, when we walk the streets of our city of Tel Aviv, despite the fact that some of us have downloaded a contact tracing app, the majority of the people around us haven't. And therefore, without that critical mass coming into effect, the app doesn't work. The app doesn't give you enough information if you've come into contact with people around you, because people are not okay with downloading a government tracking app. So that's the first reason. The second reason that government contact tracing apps are not working too well is because all these apps have adopted either one of the following two technologies. They've either gone down the GPS tracking route of tracking you along according to your GPS location, or they've gone down the Bluetooth route, okay, using the Google Apple protocol. And when you adopt one of those two methods, you're inherently carrying behind you the baggage of all the flaws of that method. Because if you're working on GPS, you don't have the proximity that Bluetooth allows you. And if you're working with Bluetooth, then you don't have the bigger picture that GPS allows you. And having just one of the two is just not going to cut it. It's just not going to fly. You need a more refined positioning technology. And that is the reason these are not being effective, and they're leading to many false positives as well. So over here in Israel, the company Matrix, Israel's largest IT company that was involved in setting up the national contact tracing app for our Ministry of Health, understood these flaws, understood that government tracking is just not going to cut it, and came up with a corporate contact tracing app, one that can be given to institutions, companies, hospitals, and so on. Just now we'll talk about all that. One of the key features of this app is the fact that it has what's called a CPS, okay? That's a composite positioning system. Basically, it's combining indoor navigation technologies from all three, not just from GPS, not just from Bluetooth, but from GPS, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi, okay? Wi-Fi is being able to pick up your location inside a building once you're at the office or in a retail store, for example, picking it off the Wi-Fi beacons in the building, something that a national contact tracing app will never be able to do, okay? A national government app will not be able to connect to the Wi-Fi beacons within your office place. And this is why the Shield app is an app with the idea being that you would give it to corporations, okay? Give it to retail stores, give it to hospitals, give it to schools, universities, and let them give it to their employees and give it to their customer base. Okay. In fact, you would have two versions of the app. You'd have an employee app, you'd give it all your workers, and you have a visitor app, which is a lighter version. It's actually a web app, in which you can give it to all your customers coming to shop at your retail store, or all your patients coming to a hospital. This way, you're creating an environment where everybody around you is using the app, and therefore you're getting the critical mass effect of everybody protecting everybody and being notified in case you come into contact with a known COVID patient. How does the app work? Basically, what happens is when you install the app on your phone and you come to work in the morning, the app picks up the fact that you're in the office building and then starts to track you while you're in the building. It keeps a track on your phone, a 14-day geo-track, and keeps that stored on the phone, sharing it with nobody, not even with HR. Now, in case any one of your colleagues at the office who also has that, who also is being tracked and that tracking information is on their phone, in case one of your colleagues tests positive for COVID, once that worker presses the red button and signifies an alert, I've been tested positive, what happens is his location history is shared with all the other phones in the company. And basically, his location history will be sent to my phone. And my phone now compares to see whether my location history and his location history, if we've been in the same place for a significant amount of time, to qualify as a contact. And if we have come into contact, then I'll be notified, and probably also HR will be notified. But the value of this is twofold. One, HR need not send everybody home right now and kill a whole shift of workers because of one known case. It could just identify the people which have come into contact with that person. That's one. Secondly, your customer base, your visitors coming to your workplace. Okay, imagine you're Starbucks. All the people coming in having coffee, they can now know that if they come and have coffee at Starbucks, they can actually safely come and have coffee at Starbucks. Okay, because should they have come into contact while they visit at Starbucks, they will be notified. Well, in terms of privacy, okay, the app stands by the GDPR rules of privacy in Europe. It complies with the HIPAA rules of the health authorities in North America, and therefore it is super private and secure. As I said, your location is not shared upwards with management. Okay, only the fact that you've come into contact will be shared upwards. So super private and can be configured according to the health rules of your company's policy, the health policies of your company, and the health policies of the province, the state in which you're using the app. Imagine you'd be traveling from New York to California. The app will migrate to the health policies in that location effectively. Now, why do I call it organic contact tracing? Because here's a scenario I want to promote. Here's something that we should think about. You know, the reason when we use Google Maps or Waze, the reason we're seeing traffic ahead of us is because everybody's using the app. Everybody's notifying Google Maps where they are and at what speed they're driving, and therefore Google Maps is able to figure out where there is a traffic jam. You know, when people are driving slower, that's where the traffic jam is ahead of us. When it comes to contact tracing, as I said, we need everybody around us to be using the same app and to be on the same platform for this to work. So at the office, it's easy. If we would get our employer to hand us all an app, and we'd be able, let's say we're working at Starbucks, and we're all using the app, and all of our visitors that are coming in for coffee are also using the app, then we're all protected by each other. But furthermore, if across the street at Walmart, okay, they're also using the same contact tracing app, both the employees and the guests that are coming into Walmart, okay? Now, if Walmart and Starbucks would agree to anonymously, and I say anonymously share information, share notifications, then basically what happens then, that organically we're creating a community around us in which if I'm having a coffee at Starbucks, I can also go shop at Walmart and be protected. And I could then take a flight on American Airlines, okay? And then I could go to my favorite bookstore and so on and so forth, and you get the idea. And so this is something which I see the business community connected to the schools, connected to the hospitals, the medical clinics, FedEx, UPS. Hey, you might decide to ship your package only with a courier company that their drivers and delivery boys are on the same app as you. Okay, imagine where this can go. So this is why I call this organic contact tracing. This should be a bottom-up approach. Might be promoted, supported by government, but definitely not handed down from government, because government has got no power to get people to adopt a national contact tracing app. But I think business-wise, this is where this should go. So I think in summary, we're going to enter now a time in which your employee is going to tell you that if you want to come into the office, you're going to wear a mask and you've got to wear an app. And that's where things are going to go. And this way, all of us will be protecting each other technologically. So something to think about. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Curious if you could add any comments below about your thoughts about this, whether this could be applicable. Thanks for hearing me out. All the best. Yuval from Tel Aviv. Shalom, shalom.